Welcome back to another short story. Fix my necklace. In the book The Conjure Woman. Now, The Conjure Woman was published in 1901 by Charles Chestnut, and this takes place as a series of short stories, that takes place in Patesville, North Carolina, where a man, Julius, which is seen here, decides to tell the new owners of a vineyard, who just purchased a vineyard, named John and Annie, all of these stories. The vineyard was actually a former plantation, which Julius tried to convince them not to buy. But they did it anyway. But yes, he keeps telling them all of these stories. And at this point in the story, we're now to the point where John is kind of questioning Julius's stories. So this story is called The Conjurer's Revenge. Now, the way Julius sees it, John is only doing things that benefit him. None of his actions seem to be for the greater good. So Julius tells him the story of an enslaved man named Primus. Now, Primus was actually turned into a mule after it was said that he had stolen a pig. Now, the conjurer who places these spell on Primus, once he finds out that he really didn't steal it, he is overcome with guilt for making such a huge mistake, and he promises him that he's going to reverse the spell. But before he's able to, the mule is sold back to its original owner. Now, this is where it gets kind of crazy, because the mule, or Primus as the mule, gets drunk and attacks his girlfriend, horribly attacks her. At the same time, the conjurer actually dies as he's attempting to reverse the spell. Now, the passage goes that the conjured man took some gourds and bottles and began to work with some roots and herbs. And the mule began to turn back into a man. First his ears, then the rest of his head, then his shoulders, and then his arms. All the while, the conjured man kept working his roots, and Pete and Primus could see that the man was getting weaker and weaker. "Brother Pete," the conjurer said after a while, "give me a drink of those bitters from that green bottle over there yonder on the shelf. I'm going fast, and it'll give me strength I need to finish this work." Brother Pete looked up on the mantle, and he could see a bottle, but it was so dark he couldn't tell whether or not it was green. But he held the bottle to the conjured man's mouth, and the conjured man took a mouthful. No sooner that he swallowed than he began to holler. "You gave me the wrong bottle, Brother Pete. This here bottle's got poison in it. I's done for real this time. Hold me up for the Lord's sake. I got to get done turning Primus back." So Pete held him up, and he kept working those roots till he got the goofer taken off of Primus, all except for one foot. He got his foot all but half turned back before he fell back on the bed. "I can't do no more for you, Primus, but I hope you forgive me for the harm I've done to you. I knows the good Lord will forgive me, and I hope to meet you in glory one day." And so the conjured man died, and Pete and Primus went back to the plantation. Now, Julius did manage to convince John to successfully not buy a mule, and instead buy a horse. But the horse turned out to be sick and unreliable, and at this point, John is now side-eyeing Julius like, "What are you telling me all these stories for? You don't seem to be trustworthy after all." But y'all, that man really turned old boy into a mule. That's crazy. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and there are 2 more stories in this book left.